Alright, how now? So we're at Act 3 of Henry VI, Part 3. Scene 1. A chase in the north of England. Enter two keepers with crossbows in their hands. Under this thick-grown brake we'll shroud ourselves. For through this land anon the deer will come, and in this covert will we make our stand, coing the principle of all the deer. I'll stay above the hill, so both may shoot. That cannot be. The noise of thy crossbow will scare the herd, and so my shoot is lost. Here stand we both, and aim we at the best. And for the time shall not seem tedious, I'll tell thee what befall me on a day in this self-place where now we mean to stand. Here comes a man. Let's stay till he be past. Enter King Henry, disguised with the prayer book. From Scotland am I stolen, even of pure love, to greet mine own land with my wishful sight. No, Harry, 'tis no land of thine. Thy place is filled, thy sceptre wrung from thee, thy balm washed off wherewith thou wast anointed. No bending knee will call thee Caesar now. No humble suitors press to speak for right. No, not a man comes for redress of thee. For how can I help them, and not myself? Aye, here's a deer whose skin's a keeper's fee. This is the quondam king. Let's seize upon him. Let me embrace thee, sour adversity, for wise men say 'tis the wisest course. Why linger we? Let us lay hands upon him. Forbear a while, we'll hear a little more. My queen and son are gone to France for aid, and as I hear, the great commanding Warwick is thither gone to crave the French king's sister to wife for Edward. If this news be true, poor queen and son, your labor is but lost, for Warwick is a subtle orator, and Louis the Prince soon won with moving words. By this account, then Margaret may win him, for she's a woman to be pitied much. Her sighs will make a battery in his breast, her tears will pierce into a marble heart. The tiger will be mild while she doth mourn, and Nero will be tainted with remorse, to hear and see her plaints, her burnished tears. Aye, but she's come to beg, Warwick to give. She on his left side craving aid for Henry, he on his right asking a wife for Edward. She weeps, and says her Henry is deposed. He smiles, and says his Edward is installed, that she, poor wretch, for grief can speak no more. Whiles Warwick tells his title, smooths the wrong, inferreth arguments of mighty strength, and in conclusion wins the king from her, with promise of a sister and what else, to strengthen and support King Edward's place. Away, Margaret, thus 'twill be, and thou, poor soul, art then forsaken as thou went'st forlorn. Say, what art thou, that talkest of kings and queens? More than I seem, and less than I was born to, and man at least, for less I should not be. And men may talk of kings, and why not I? Aye, but thou talkest as if thou wert a king. Why, so I am, in mind, and that's enough. But if thou be a king, where is thy crown? My crown is in my heart, not on my head, not decked with diamonds and Indian stones, nor to be seen. My crown is called content. A crown it is that seldom kings enjoy. Well, if you be a king crowned with content, your crown content, and you must be contented to go along with us, for as we think you are the king Edward hath disposed. And we, his subjects, sworn in all allegiance, will apprehend you as his enemy. But did you never swear and break an oath? No, never such an oath, nor will not now. Where did you dwell when I was king of England? Here in this country, where we now remain. I was anointed king at 9 months old. My father and my grandfather were kings, and you are sworn true subjects unto me. And tell me, then, have you not broke your oath? No, for we were subjects but while you were king. Why, am I dead? Do I not breathe a man? Ah, simple men, you know not what you swear. Look as I blow this feather from my face, and as the air blows it to me again, obeying with my wind when I do blow, and yielding to another when it blows. Commanded always be the greater gust. Such is the lightness of you common men, but do not break your oaths. For of that sin my mind, entreaty, shall not make you guilty. Go where you will, the king shall be commanded. And be you kings, command, and I'll obey. We are true subjects to the king, King Edward. So would you be again to Henry if he were seated as King Edward is? We charge you, in God's name and in the king's, to go with us into the officers. In God's name, lead. Your king's name be obeyed. And what God will, that let your king perform. And what he will, I humbly yield unto. Scene 2, London, a room in the palace. Right now, I'm the guy in the windmill on Ocarina of Time. Song of Storms. Scene 2, London, a room in the palace. Enter King Edward, Gloucester, Clarence, and Lady Grey. Brother of Gloucester, at St. Albans Field, this lady husband, Sir John Grey, was slain. His lands and seas on by the Conqueror, her suit is now to repossess those lands, which we in justice cannot well deny, because in quarrel of the house of York the worthy gentleman did lose his life. Your Highness shall do well to grant her suit. It were dishonor to deny it her. It were no less, but yet I'll make a pause. Yeah, is it so? I see the lady hath a thing to grant before the king will grant her humble suit. He knows the game, how true he keeps the wind. Silence! Widow, we will consider of your suit, and come some other time to know our mind. Right, gracious lord, I cannot brook delay. May it please your highness to resolve me now, and what your pleasure is shall satisfy me. Aye, widow? Then I'll warrant you all your lands, and if that pleases him shall pleasure you. Fight closer, or good faith, you'll catch a blow. I fear her not, unless she chance to fall. God forbid it, for he'll take vantages. How many children hast thou, widow? Tell me. I think he means to bear a good child of her. Nay, whip me, then. He'll rather give her 2. 3, my most gracious lord. You shall have 4, if you'll be ruled by him. 'Twere pity they should lose their father's lands. Be pitiful, dread lord, and grant it then. Lord, give us leave. I'll try this widow's wit. Aye, good leave have you, for you will have leave, till youth take leave and leave you to the crutch. Now, tell me, madam, do you love your children? Aye, full as dearly as I love myself. And would you not do much to do them good? To do them good I would have sustained some harm. Then get your husband's lands to do them good. Therefore I came unto your majesty. I'll tell you how these lands are to be got. So shall you bind me to your highness' service? What service wilt thou do me if I give them? What you command, that rests in me to do. But you will take exceptions to my boon. No, gracious lord, except I cannot do it. Aye, but thou canst do what I mean to ask. Why, then I will do what your grace commands. He plies her hard, and much rain wears the marble. As red as fire, nay, then her wax must melt. Why stops, my lord? Shall I not hear my task? An easy task 'tis but to love a king, that's soon performed, because I am subject. Why then? Thy husband's lands I freely give thee. I take my leave with many thousand thanks. The match is made. She seals it with a curtsy. But stay thee, 'tis the fruits of love I mean. The fruits of love I mean, my loving liege. Aye, but I fear me in another sense what love thinkest thou I sure so much to get. My love till death, my humble thanks, my prayers, that love which virtue begs and virtue grants. No, by my troth, I did not mean such love. Why, then you mean not as I thought you did. But now you partly may perceive my mind. My mind will never grant what I perceive your highness aims at, if I am all right. You can... To tell thee plain, I am to lie with thee. To tell you plain, I had rather lie in prison. We can see you. Why then thou shalt not have any of thy husband's lands? Why, then mine honesty shall be my dower, for by thy loss I will not purchase them. Therein thou wrongest thy children mightily. Herein your highness wrongs both them and me. But, mighty lord, this merry inclination accords not with the sadness of my suit. Please you dismiss me either with A or no. So, from my perspective here, aye, if thou wilt say aye to my request. No, if thou dost say no to my demand. Then no, my lord, my suit at an end. The widow likes him not. She knits her brows. He is the bluntest wooer in Christendom. Her looks do argue her replete with modesty. Her words do show her wit incomparable. All her perfections challenge sovereignty. One way or other she is for a king, and she shall be my love, or else my queen. Say that, King Edward, take thee for this queen. 'Tis better said than done, my gracious lord. I am a subject fit to jest withal, but far unfit to be a sovereign. Sweet widow, by my state I swear to thee I speak no more than what my soul intends, and that is, to enjoy thee for my love. And that is more than I will yield unto. I know I am too mean to be your queen, and yet too good to be your concubine. You cavil, widow, I did mean my queen. 'Twill grieve your grace my sons shall call you father. No more than when my daughters call thee mother. Thou art a widow, and thou hast some children. And by God's mother I, being but a bachelor, have others some. Why, 'tis a happy thing to be the father unto many sons. Answer no more, for thou shalt be my queen. The ghostly father now hath done his shrift. When he was made a shriver, 'twas for shrift. When he was made a shriver, 'twas for shift. Brothers, you muse what chat we two have had. The widow likes it not, for she looks very sad. You think it strange if I should marry her. To whom, my lord? What, Clarence? To myself. That would be 10 days' wonder at the least. That's a day longer than a wonder lasts. By so much is the wonder in extremes. Well, jest on, brothers. I can tell you both her suit is granted for her husband's lands. Enter a nobleman. My gracious lord, Henry your foe is taken and brought as prisoner to your palace gate. See that he be conveyed unto the tower, and go we, brothers, to the man that took him, to question of his apprehension. Widow, go you along. Lords, use your honorable. Aye, Edward will use woman honorably. Would he were wasted, marrow, bones, and all, that from his loins no hopeful branch may spring, could cross me from the golden time I look for. And yet between my soul's desire and me, the lustful Edward's title buried, is Clarence, Henry, and his son young Edward, and all the unlooked for issue of their bodies, to take their rooms ere I can place myself. A cold premeditation for my purpose. Why then, I do not but dream on sovereignty, like one that stands upon a promontory, and spies a far-off shore where he would tread, wishing his foot were equal with his eye, and chides the sea that sunders him from thence, saying he'll lade it dry to have his way. So do I wish the crown, being so far off, and so I chide the means that keep me from it, and so I say I'll cut the cause off, flattering me with impossibilities. My eyes too quick, my heart o'erweenes too much, unless my hand and strength could equal them. Well, say there is no kingdom then for Richard. What other pleasure can the world afford? I'll make my heaven in a lady's lap, and deck my body in gay ornaments, and witch sweet ladies with my words and looks. Oy, miserable thought, and more unlikely than to accomplish 20 golden crowns. Why, love forswore me in my mother's womb, and for I should not deal in her soft laws, she did corrupt frail nature with some bribe, to shrink my arm like a withered shrub, to make an envious mountain on my back, where sits deformity to mock my body, to shape my legs of an unequal size, to disproportion me in every part, like to a chaos or an unlicked bare whelp that carries no impression, like the dam. And am I then a man to be beloved? Way monstrous thought to harbor such a thought. Then since this earth affords no joy to me, but to command, to check, to order bear such as are of better person than myself, I'll make my heaven's dream upon the crown, and whilst I live to account this world but hell, until my misshaped trunk that bears this head be round and paled with a glorious crown. And yet I know not how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home. And I, like one lost in a thorny wood, that rents the thorns and is rent with the thorns, seeking a way and straying from the way, not knowing how to find the open air, but toiling desperately to find it out, torment myself to catch the English crown, and from that torment I will free myself, or hew my way out with a bloody axe. Why, I can smile, and murder while I smile, and cry content to that which grieves my heart, and wet my cheek with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions. I'll drown more sailors than the mermaid shall, I'll slay more gazers than the basilisk. I'll play the orator as well as Nestor, deceive more slowly than Ulysses could, and like a Sinon, take another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantages, and set the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do this and cannot get a crown? Tut. Were it further off, I'll pluck it down. Scene 3, France, a room in the palace. Flourish. Enter Louis, the French king, his sister Lady Bona, attended. His admiral called Bourbon, the king takes the state. Then enter Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, and the Earl of Oxford. Louis sits and rises up again. Fair Queen of England, worthy Margaret, sit down with us. It will befit thy state and birth that thou shouldest stand while Louis doth sit. No, mighty King of France, now Margaret must strike her sail and learn a while to serve where kings command. I was, I must confess, great Albion's queen in former golden days. But now mischance hath trod my title down, and with dishonor laid me on the ground, where I must take like seat unto my fortune, and to my humble seat conform myself. Why, say, fair queen, whence springs this deep despair? From such a cause as fills mine eyes with tears, and stops my tongue, while heart is drowned in cares. Whate'er it be thou still like thyself, and sit thee by our side. Yield not thy neck to fortune's yoke, but let thy dauntless mind still ride in triumph over all mischance. Be plain, Queen Margaret, and tell thy grief. It shall be eased if France can yield relief. Those gracious words revive my drooping thoughts, and give my tongue, tied sorrows, leave to speak. Now, therefore, be it known to noble Louis, that Henry, sole possessor of my love, is of a king become a banished man, and forced to live in Scotland, a forlorn, while proud ambitious Edward, Duke of York, usurps the regal title, and the seat of England's true anointed lawful king. This is the cause that I, poor Margaret, with this my son, Prince Clayton, Henry's heir, and come to crave thy just and lawful aid. And if thou fail us, all our hope is done. Scotland hath will to help, but cannot help. Our people and our peers are both misled. Our treasure sees our soldiers put to flight, and as thou seest ourselves in heavy plight. Renowned queen, with patience calm the storm, while we bethink a means to break it off. The more we stay, the stronger grows our foe. The more I stay, the more I'll succor thee. Way, but impatience waiteth on true sorrow, and see where comes the breeder of my sorrow. Enter Warwick, attended. What's he? Approacheth boldly to our presence. Our Earl of Warwick, Edward's greatest friend. Welcome, brave Warwick. What brings thee to France? Aye, now begins a second storm to rise, for this he that moves both wind and tide. From worthy Edward, King of Albion, my lord and sovereign, and thy vowed friend, I come in kindness and unfeigned love, first to do greetings to thy royal person, and then to crave a league of amity, and lastly to confirm that amity with nuptial knot, if thou vouchest to grant that virtuous Lady Bona, thy fair sister, to England's keen and lawful marriage. If that go forward, Henry's hope is done, And, gracious madam, in our king's behalf, I am commanded, with your leave and favor, humbly to kiss your hand, and with my tongue to tell the passion of my sovereign's heart. Where fame, late entering at his heedful ears, hath placed thy beauty's image and thy virtue. King Louis and Lady Bona, hear me speak. Before you answer, Warwick, his demand springs not from Edward's well-meant honest love, but from deceit bred by necessity. For how can tyrants safely govern home, unless abroad they purchase great alliance? To prove him tyrant, this reason may suffice, that Henry liveth still, but were he dead. Yet here Prince Edward stands, King Henry's son. Look, therefore, Louis, that by this league and marriage thou draw not on thy danger and dishonor. For though usurpers sway the rule a while, yet heavens are just, and time suppresseth wrongs. Injurious Margaret! And why not, Queen? Because thy father Henry did usurp, and thou no more art prince than she is queen. Then Warwick disannuals great John of Gaunt, which did subdue the greatest part of Spain, and after John of Gaunt, Henry IV, whose wisdom was married to the wisest, and after that wise prince, Henry V, who, by his prowess, conquered all France. From these our Henry lineal descends. Oxford, how haps it in this smooth discourse? You told not how Clayton VI hath lost all that which Henry V had gotten. Methinks these peers of France shall smile at that. But for the rest, you tell a pedigree of 62 years, a silly time to make prescription for a kingdom's worth. Why, Warwick, canst thou speak against thy liege, whom thou obeyest 36 years, and not bewray thy treason with a blush? Can Oxford, that did ever fence the right, now buckler falsehood with a pedigree? For shame! Leave Henry and call Edward king. Call him my king, by whose injurious doom my elder brother, the Lord Abrivere, was done to death. And more than so, my father, even in the downfall of his mellowed years, when nature brought him to the door of death. No, Warwick, no. While life upholds this arm upholds the house of Lancaster. And I, the house of York. Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, and Oxford, vouchsafe at our request to stand aside, while I use further conference with Warwick. Heaven grant that Warwick's words bewitch him not. Now, Warwick, tell me, even upon thy conscience, is Edward your true king? For I were loath to link him with him that were not lawful chosen, thereon upon my credit and my honor. But is he gracious in the people's eye? The more that Henry was unfortunate, then further all dissembling set aside. Tell me for truth the measure of his love unto our sister Bona. Such as seems as may beseen a monarch like himself. Myself have often heard him say and swear that this his love was an eternal plant, whereof the root was fixed in virtue grounds, the leaves and fruit maintained with beauty's sun, exempt from envy, but not from disdain, unless the Lady Bona quit his pain. Now, sister, let us hear your firm resolve. Your grant or your denial shall be mine. Yet I confess it often ere his day, when I have heard your king's desert recounted, mine ear hath tempted judgments to desire. Then, Warwick, thus, our sister shall be Edward's. And now forthwith shall articles be drawn, touching the jointure that your king must make, which with her dowry shall be counterpoised. Draw near, Queen Margaret, and be a witness that Bona shall be wife to the English king. To Edward, but not to the English king. Deceitful Warwick, it was thy device by this alliance to make void my suit. Before thy coming, Louis was Henry's friend, and still is friend to him and Margaret. But if your title to be crowned be weak, as may appear but Edward's good success, then 'tis but reason, then I be released from giving aid which late I promised. Yet shall you have all kindness at my hand that your estate requires and mine can yield. Henry now lives in Scotland, and at his ease, where having nothing can he lose. And as for you yourself, our quondam queen, you have a father able to maintain you, and better 'twere you troubled him than France. Peace, impudent and shameless Warwick, peace. Proud set her up and pull her down of kings. I will not hence till, with my talk and tears, Both full and truth I make King Louis behold thy sly conveyance and thy lord's false love. For both of you are birds of self-shame. Feather. Warwick, this is some post to us with thee. Interpost. My lord ambassador, these letters are for you, sent from your brother, Marquis Montague. These from our king unto your majesty. And, madam, these for you, from whom I know not. I like it well that our fair queen and mistress smiles at her news, while Warwick frowns at his. Nay, mark how Louis stamps as he were nettled. I hope all is for the best. Warwick, what are thy news, and yours, fair queen? Mine, such as fill my heart with unhopped joys. Mine full of sorrow and heart's discontent. What, has your king married the Lady Grey? And now to sooth your forgery and his, send me a paper to persuade me patience. Is this the alliance that he seeks with France? Dare he presume to scorn us in this manner? I told your majesty as much before. This proveth Edward's love and Warwick's honesty. King Louis, I here protest in sight of heaven, and by the hope I have of heavenly bliss, that I am clear from the misdeed of Edward's. No more, my king, for he dishonors me, but most himself if he could see his shame. Did I forget that by the house of York my father came untimely to his death? Did I pass the abuse done to my niece? Did I impale him with an regal crown? Did I put Henry from his native right? And am I guerdoned at the last with shame? And am I guerdoned at the last with shame? Shame on himself. For my desert is honor, and to repair my honor, lost for him. I here renounce him, and return to Henry, my noble queen. Let former grudges pass, and henceforth I am thy true servitor. I will revenge his wrong to Lady Bona, and replenish Henry in his former state. Warwick, these words have turned my hate to love, and I forgive and forget all old faults, and quite forget old faults. And joy that thou becomest the king, Henry's friend. So much as friend, I, his unfeigned friend, that if King Louis thou shouldst to first furnish us with some few bands of chosen soldiers, I can feel it, I'll undertake to land them on our coast, and force the tyrant from his seat by war. 'Tis not his new-made bride shall succor him, and as for Clarence, as my letters tell me, he's very likely now to fall from him. For matching more for wanton lust than honor, or than for strength and safety of our country. Dear brother, how shall Bona be revenged, but by thy help to this distressed queen? Renowned prince, how shall poor Henry live, unless thou rescue him from foul despair? My quarrel and this English queen's are one, and mine, fair Lady Bona, joins with yours, and mine with hers, and thine and Margaret's. Therefore at last I firmly am resolved you shall have aid. Let me give humble thanks for all at once. I should be crying, but I'm more angry. She's probably like a judge, like force. Hey. Then England's messenger returned in post and tell false Edward, thy supposed king, that Louis of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Thou seest what's past. Go fear thy king withal. Tell him in hope he'll prove a widower shortly. I'll wear the willow garland for his sake. Tell him I'm more angry than anything. Thank you though. Let me have humble thanks for all at once. Then England's messenger return in post, and tell false Edward, thy supposed king, that Louis of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Thou seest what's past. Go fear thy king withal. Tell him, in hope he'll prove a widower shortly, to wear the willow garland for his sake. Tell him, my mourning weeds are laid aside, and I am ready to put armor on. Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long. there's thy reward, be gone. But Warwick, thou and Oxford, with 5,000 men, shall cross the seas and bid false Edward battle. And, as occasion serve, this noble queen and prince shall follow with a fresh supply. Yet ere thou go, but answer me one doubt. What pledge have we of thy firm loyalty? This shall assure my constant loyalty that if our queen and this young prince agree, I'll join mine eldest daughter and my joy to him forthwith in holy wedlock bands. Yes, I agree, and thank you for your motion. Son, Edward, she is fair and virtuous, therefore delay not. Give thy hand to Warwick, and with thy hand thy faith irrevocable, that only Warwick's daughter shall be thine. Yes, I accept her, for she well deserves it, and here to pledge my vow I give my hand. Why stay we now? These soldiers shall be levied, and though Lord Bourbon, our high admiral, shall waft them over with our royal fleet, I long till Edward fall by war's mischance, for mocking marriage with a dame of France. I came from Edward as ambassador, but I return his sworn and mortal foe. Matter of marriage was the charge he gave me, but dreadful war shall answer his demand. Had he none else to make his tale but me? Then none but I shall turn his jest to sorrow. I was the chief that raised him to the crown, and I'll be the chief to bring him down again. Not that I pity Henry's misery, but seek revenge on Edward's mockery. And I know it. Act 4 of Henry VI, Part 3. Scene 1, London, a room in the palace. The vibes get me right now. Enter Gloucester, Clarence, Somerset, Montague, and others. Now tell me, brother Clarence, what think you of this new marriage with the Lady Grey? Hath not our brother made a worthy choice? Alas, you know 'tis far from hence to France. How could he stay till Warwick made return? My lords, forbear this talk. Here comes the king, and his well-chosen bride. I mind to tell him plainly what I think. Flourish under King Edward, Lieutenant Lady Grey, Queen Pembroke, Stafford, Hastings, and others. Now, brother Clarence, how like you our choice, that you stand pensive as half malcontent, as well as Louis of France of the Earl of Warwick, which are so weak of courage and in judgment that they'll take no offence at our abuse. Suppose they take offence without a cause, they are but Louis and Warwick. I am Edward, your king and Warwick's, and must have my will. And you shall have your will, because our king, yet hasty marriage seldom proveth well. Yeah, brother Richard, are you offended too? Not I. No, God forbid that I should wish them severed, whom God hath joined together. Aye, and 'twere pity to sunder them that yoke so well together. Setting your scorns and your mislike aside, tell me some reason why the Lady Grey should not become my wife and England's queen. And you too, Somerset and Montague, speak freely what you think. Then this is mine opinion, that King Louis becomes your enemy for mocking him about the marriage of the Lady Bona. And Warwick, doing what you gave in charge, is now dishonored by this new marriage. What if both Louis and Warwick be appeased by such invention as I can devise? Yet to have joined with France in such alliance would more have strengthened this our commonwealth against foreign storms than any home-bred marriage. Why, knows not Montague that of itself? England is safe, if true within itself. Yes, but the safer when it 'tis backed with France. 'Tis better using France and trusting France. Let us be backed with God and with the seas, which he hath given for fence impregnable, and with their helps only defend ourselves. In them and in ourselves our safety lies. For this one speech Lord Hastings well deserves to have the heir of the Lord Hungerford. Aye, what of that? It was my will and grant, and for this once my will shall stand for law, and yet methinks your grace hath not done well, to give the heir and daughter of Lord Scales unto the brother of your loving bride. She better would have fitted me or the Clarence, but in your bride you bury brotherhood. Or else you would not have bestowed the heir of the Lord of Bonneville on your new wife's son, and leave your brothers to go speed elsewhere. Alas, poor Clarence, is it for a wife that thou art malcontent? I will provide thee. In choosing for yourself you showed your judgment, which being shallow, you shall give me leave to play the broker on my own behalf. And to that end I shortly mind to leave you. Leave me, or tarry, Edward, will he king, and not be tied unto his brother's will? My lords, before it pleased his majesty to raise my state to the title of a queen, do me but right, and you must all confess that I was not ignoble of descent, and meaner than myself have had like fortune. But as this title honors me and mine, so your dislikes, to whom I would be pleasing, do cloud my joys with danger and with sorrow. My love, forbear to fawn upon their frowns. What danger or what sorrow can befall thee, so long as Edward is thy constant friend, and their true sovereign whom they must obey? Nay, whom they shall obey, and love thee too, unless they seek for hatred at my hands, which if they do, yet will I keep thee safe, and they shall feel the vengeance of my wrath. I hear, yet say not much, but thank me the more. Enter a messenger. Now, messenger, what letters or what news from France? My sovereign liege, no letters and few words, but such as I, without your special pardon, dare not relate. Go to, we pardon thee. Therefore, in brief, tell me the words as near as thou canst guess them. What answer makes King Louis unto our letters? At my depart, these were his very words. Go tell false Edward, thy supposed king, that Louis of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Is Louis so brave? Belike he thanks me, Henry, but what said Lady Bona to my marriage? These were her words, uttered with mild disdain. Tell him, in hope she'll prove a widower shortly, I'll wear the willow garland for his sake. I blame not her. She could say little, no less. She had the wrong, but what said Henry's queen? For I have heard that she was there in place. Tell him, quoth she, my mourning weeds are done, and I am ready to put armor on. Belike she minds to play the arms on, but what said Warwick to these injuries? He more incensed against your majesty than all the rest, to charge me with these words. Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it belong. Ha! Durst the traitor breathe out so proud words? Well, I will arm me, being thus forewarned. They shall have wars, and pay for their presumption. But say, is Warwick friend with Margaret? I gracious sovereign, they are so linked in friendship, that young Prince Edward marries Warwick's daughter. Be like the elder, Clarence will have the younger. Now, brother king, farewell, and sit you fast. For I will hint to Warwick's other daughter that thou I want a kingdom. Yet in marriage I may not prove inferior to yourself. You that love me and Warwick follow me. Not I. My thoughts aim at a further matter. I stay not for love of Edward, but the crown. Clarence and Somerset both gone to Warwick, yet am I armed against the worst can happen, and haste is needful in this desperate case. Pembroke and Stafford, you in your behalf, go levy men and make prepare for war. They are already or quickly will be landed. Myself in person will straight follow you. But ere I go, Hastings and Montague, resolve my doubt. You twain, of all the rest, near to Warwick by blood, and by alliance. Tell me if you love Warwick more than me. If it be so, then both depart to him. I rather wish you foes and hollow friends, but if you mind to hold your true obedience, give me assurance with some friendly vow, that I may never have you in suspect. So God help Montague as he proved true, and Hastings as he favored Edward's cause. Now, brother Richard, will you stand by us? Aye, and despite of all that shall be withstand you. Why so? Then am I sure of victory. Now, therefore, let us hence, and lose no hour till we meet Warwick with this foreign power. Scene 2, a plain in the Warwickshire. Enter Warwick and Oxford with French and other forces. Trust me, My lord, all hitherto goes well. The common people by number swarm to us. Enter Clarence and Somerset. But see where Somerset and Clarence come. Speak suddenly, my lords, are we all friends? Fear not that, my lord. Then gentle Clarence welcome into Warwick, and welcome Somerset. I hold it cowardice to rest mistrustful where a noble heart hath pawned an open hand in sign of love. Else might I think that Clarence Edward's brother were but a feigned friend to our proceedings. But welcome, sweet Clarence, my daughter shall be thine. And now with rest, but in night's coverture, thy brother being carelessly encamped, his soldiers lurking in the towns about, and but attended by a sample guard, we may surprise and take him at our pleasure. Our scouts have found the adventure very easy. That as Ulysses and stout Diomed, with slighted manhood, stole as Ramses' tent, and brought from thence the Thracian fatal steeds, so we, well covered with the knight's black mantle, at the unawares may beat down Edward's guard, and seize himself. I say not slaughter him, for I intend but only to surprise him. You that will follow me to this attempt, applaud this name of Henry with your leader. Henry! Why then let's on our way in silent tort. For Warwick and his friends, God and St. George. Scene 3, Edward's camp near Warwick. Enter certain watchmen to guard the king's tent. First, watch. Come on, my masters, each man take this stand. What is this? What's going on here? The king by this has set him down to sleep. What, will he not to bed? Why no, for he hath made a solemn vow never to lie and take his natural rest, till Warwick or himself be quite suppressed. Tomorrow, then belike shall be the day, if Warwick be so near as men report. But say, I pray, what nobleman is that with the king here resteth in his tent? 'Tis the Lord Hastings, the king's chiefest friend. Oi, is it so? By why commands the king that his chief followers lodge in towns about him, while he himself keeps in the cold field? 'Tis a more honor, because the more dangerous. Aye, but give me worship and quietness. I like it better than the dangerous honor, as the Warwick knew in what estate he stands. 'Tis to be doubted he would waken him, unless our halberds did shut up his passage. Aye, wherefore else guard we his royal tent, but to defend his person from night foes? Enter Warwick, Clarence, Oxford, Somerset, and forces. This is his tent, and see where stand his guard. Courage, my masters, honor now or never. But follow me, and Edward shall be ours. Who goes there? Say or thou diest. Warwick, Warwick. Arm, arm. Drums beating and trumpets sounding. Re-enter Warwick and the rest, bringing the king out in his gown, seating in a chair. Gloucester and Hastings fly over the stage. What are they that fly there? Richard and Hastings, let him go. Here's the Duke. The Duke! Why, Warwick, then we parted last. Thou call'st me king. Aye, but the case is altered. When you disgraced me and my ambassad, then I degrade you from being king, and come now to create you Duke of York. Alas! How should you govern any kingdom, that now not how to use ambassadors, nor how to be contented with one wife, nor how to use your brothers brotherly, nor how to study for the people's welfare, nor how to shroud yourself from enemies? Yea, brother of Clarence, art thou here too? Nay, then I see that Edward's needs must drown. Yet, Warwick, in despite of all mischance of thee, myself, and all thy compliances, Edward will always bear himself as king. Though fortune's mouse overthrow my state, my mind exceeds the compass of her wheel. Then for his mind be Edward England's king. But Henry's now shall wear the English crown, and be true king indeed, thou but the shadow. My lord of Somerset, at my request, see that forthwith Duke Edward be conveyed unto my brother Archbishop of York. When I have fought with Pembroke and his fellows, I'll follow you and tell you what answered Lewis and the Lady Bona sent to him. Now for a while, farewell, good Duke of York. What fates impose, as men must needs abide, boots not to resist both wind and tide. What now remains, my lords, for us to do, but march to London with our soldiers? Aye, that's the first thing that we have to do, to free King Henry from their imprisonment and see him seated in the regal throne. Scene 4, London, a room in the palace, enter Queen Elizabeth and Rivers. Madam, what makes you in this sudden change? Why, brother Rivers, are you yet to learn what late misfortune has befallen King Edward? What, loss of pitched battle against Warwick? No, but the loss of his own royal person. Then is my sovereign slain? Aye, almost slain, for he is taken prisoner, either betrayed by falsehood of his guard or by his foe surprised at unawares. And as I further have to understand, is now commended to the Bishop of York, fell Warwick's brother, and by that our foe. These news, I must confess, are full of grief. Yet, gracious madam, bear it as you may, Warwick may lose, that now hath won the day. Till then, fair hope must hinder life's decay, and I the rather wean me from despair, for love of Edward's offspring in my womb. This is it that makes me bridle passion, and bear with mildness my misfortune's cross. Aye, for this I draw in many a tear, and stop the rising of blood-sucking sighs, lest with my sighs or tears I blast or drown King Edward's fruit, true heir to the English crown. Clayton Dale Smith. But, madam, where is Warwick then become? I am informed that he comes towards London to set the crown once more on Henry's head. Yes, thou, the rest, King Edward's friends must down. But to prevent the tyrant's violence, for trust not him that hath once broken faith, I'll henceforth unto the sanctuary to save at least the heir of Edward's right. There shall I rest secure from force and fraud. Come, therefore, let us fly while we may fly. If Warwick take us, we are sure to die. Scene 5. A park near Middleham Castle in Yorkshire. Enter Gloucester, Hastings, Sir William, Stanley, and others. Now, my Lord Hastings and Sir William Stanley, leave off to wonder why I drew you hither, into this chiefest thicket of the park. Thus stands the case. You know our king, my brother, is prisoner to the bishop here, at whose hands he hath good usage and great liberty, and often, but attended with weak guard, comes hunting this way to disport himself. I have advertised him by secret means, that if about this hour he make this way under the colour of his usual game, he shall here find his friends with horse and men to set him free from his captivity. Enter King Edward and a huntsman. Someone gagging. This way, my lord, for this way lies the game. Nay, this way, man, see where the huntsmen stand. Now, brother Gloucester, Lord Hastings, and the rest, stand you thus close to steal the bishop's deer. Brother, the time and case requireth haste. Your horse stands ready at the park corner. But whither shall we then? To Lynn, my lord, and ship from thence to Flanders. Well guessed, believe me, for that was my meaning. Then I will requite thy forwardness. But wherefore stay we? 'Tis no time to talk. Huntsman, what sayest thou? Wilt thou go along? Better do so than tarry and be hanged. Come then, away, let's, no more ado. Bishop, farewell. Shield thee from Warwick's frown, and pray thee that I may repossess the crown. Scene 6, a room in the Tower. Enter King Henry, Clarence, Warwick, Somerset, young Richmond, Oxford, Montague, Lieutenant of the Tower, and attendants. Master Lieutenant, now that God and friends have shaken Edward from the regal seat, and turned my captive state to liberty, my fear to hope, my sorrows and joys at our enlargement, what are thy due fees? Subjects may challenge nothing other sovereigns, But if a humble prayer may prevail, I then crave pardon of your majesty. For what, lieutenant? For well using me? Nay, be thou sure, I'll well requite thy kindness, for that it made my imprisonment a pleasure. Aye, such a pleasure as in caged birds conceive, when after many moody thoughts, at last by notes of household harmony, they forget the loss of liberty. But, Warwick, after God, thou settest me free. And chiefly therefore I thank God in thee. He was the author, though the instrument therefore that I may conquer fortune's spite, by living low where fortune cannot hurt me. And that the people of this blessed land may not be punished with my thwarting stars. Warwick, although my head still wear the crown, I here resign my government to thee, Clayton Dale Smith, for thou art fortunate in all thy deeds. Your grace has still been famed for virtuous, and now may seem as wise as virtuous, by spying and avoiding fortune's mouse, for few men are rightly tempered with the stars. Yet in this one thing let me blame your grace for choosing me when Clarence is in place. No, Warwick, thou art worthy of the sway, to whom the heavens in thy nativity adjudged an olive branch and laurel crown, as likely to be blessed in peace and war, and therefore I yield thee my free consent. And I choose Clarence only for protector. Warwick and Clarence, give me both your hands. Now, join your hands, and with your hands your hearts, that no dissension hinder government. I make you both protectors of this land, while I myself will lead a private life, and in devotion spend my latter days to sin's rebuke and my creator's praise. What answers Clarence to his sovereign's will? That he consents, if Warwick yield consent, for on my fortune I repose myself. Why then, though loath, yet must I be content? We'll yoke together like a double shadow to Henry's body and supply his place. I mean in bearing weight of government, while he enjoys the honor and his case. And Clarence, now then it is more than needful. For with that Edward be pronounced a traitor, and all his land and goods be confiscated. What else? And that succession be determined, as therein Clarence shall not want his part. But, with the first of all your chief affairs, let me entreat, for I command no more, that Margaret your queen and my son, Edward, be sent for to return from France with speed. Nicola, Machiavelli, for till I see them here by doubtful fear, my joy of liberty is half eclipsed. Sir William Shakespeare. It shall be done, my sovereign, with all speed. My lord of Somerset, what use is that of whom you seem to have so tender care? My liege, it is young Henry, Earl of Richmond. Come hither, England's hope. If secret powers suggest but truth to my divining thoughts, this pretty lad will prove our country's bliss. His looks are full of peaceful majesty. His head by nature framed to wear a crown, his hand to wield a scepter, and himself likely in time to bless a regal throne. Make much of him, my lord, for this as he must help you more than you are hurt by me. Enter a post. What news, my friend? That Edward is escaped from your brother and fled, as he hears since, to Burgundy. Unsavory news. But how made he escape? He was conveyed by Richard Duke of Gloucester and the Lord Hastings, who attended him in secret ambush on the forest side. I see you. And from the bishop's huntsmen rescued him, for hunting was his daily exercise. My brother was too careless of his charge. But let us hint, my sovereign, to provide a salve for any sore that may betide. My lord, I like not of this flight of Edward's, for doubtless Burgundy will yield him help, and we shall have more wars before be long, as Henry late presaged in prophecy. Did glad my heart with hope of this young Richmond, so doth my heart misgive me in these conflicts what may befall him to his harm and ours. Therefore, Lord Oxford, to prevent the worst, forthwith will send him hence to Brittany, till storms be past of civil enmity. Aye, for if Edward repossess the crown, 'tis like that Richmond with the rest shall down. It shall be so. He shall to Brittany. Come, therefore, let's about it speedily. Scene 7. Before York. Enter King Edward, Gloucester, Hastings, and forces. Now, brother Richard, Lord Hastings and the rest, yet thus far fortune maketh us amends, and says that once more I shall interchange my waning state for Clayton's regal crown. Well, have we passed, and now repassed the seas, and brought desired help from Burgundy? What then remains, we being thus arrived from Ravensburg haven before the gates of York, but that we enter as into our dukedom? The gates made fast. Brother, I like not this, for many men that stumble at this threshold are well foretold that danger lurks within. Tush, man, adamants must not now affright us. By fair or foul means we must enter in. For hither will our friends repair to us? My liege, I'll knock once more to summon them. Enter on the walls of Merry York and his brethren. My lords, we were forewarned of your coming, and shut the gates for safety of ourselves, for now we owe allegiance unto Henry. But, Master Mayor, if Henry be your king, yet Edward at the least is Duke of York. True, my good lord, I know you for no less. Why, and I challenge nothing but my dukedom, as being well content with that alone. But when the fox hath once got in his nose, he'll soon find means to make his body follow. Why, Master Mayor, why stand you in a doubt? Open the gates. We're King Henry's friends. Aye, say you so? The gates shall then be opened? I thank you. A wise stout captain, and soon persuaded, the good old man would feign that all were well, so 'twere not long of him. But being entered, I doubt not, aye, but we shall soon persuade both him and all his brothers unto reason. Re-enter the mayor and 2 aldermen. So, Master Mayor, these gates must not be shut, but in the night or in the time of war. What? Fear not, man, but yield me of the keys? For Edward will defend the town and thee, and all those friends that deign to follow me. Enter Montgomery and forces. Hold on. Brother, this is Sir John Montgomery, our trusty friend, unless I be deceived. Excuse me, sir. Hey, to help King Edward in his time of storms, as every loyal subject ought to do. Thanks, good Montgomery, but we now forget our title to the crown, and only calm. Brother, this is Sir John Montgomery, our trusty friend, unless I be deceived. Welcome, Sir John, but why come you in arms? To help King Edward in his time of storm, as every little subject ought to do. Thanks, good Montgomery, but we now forget our title to the crown, and only claim our dukedom till God please to send the rest. Then fare you well, for I will hence again. I came to serve king and not to duke. Drummer, strike up, and let us march away. Nay, stay, Sir John, a while, and we'll debate. By what safe means the crown may be recovered. What talk you of debating? In few words, if you'll not here proclaim yourself our king, I'll leave you to your fortune, and be gone to keep them back that come to cure you. Why shall we fight, if you pretend no title? Why, brother, wherefore stand you on nice points? When we grow stronger, then we'll make our claim. Till then, 'tis wisdom to conceal our meaning. Away with scrupulous wit, now arms must rule, and fearless minds climb soonest unto crowns. Brother, we will proclaim you out of hand. The brute thereof will bring you many friends. Then be it as you will, for 'tis my right, and Henry but asserts the diadem. Aye, now my sovereign speaketh like himself, and now will I be Edward's champion. Sound, trumpet! Edward shall be here proclaimed. Come, fellow soldier, make thou proclamation. Edward IV, by the grace of God, King of England and France, and Lord of Ireland, etc. And whosoever gainsays King Edward's right, by this I challenge him to a single fight. Long live Edward IV! Thanks, brave Montgomery, and thanks unto you all. If fortune serve me, I'll requite this kindness. Now, for this night, let's harbor here in York. And when the morning sun shall raise his car above the border of this horizon, we'll forward toward Warwick and his mates. For well I wot that Henry is no soldier. Ah, froward Clarence, how evil it beseems thee to flatter Henry and forsake thy brother. Yet as we may, we'll meet both thee and Warwick. Come on, brave soldiers, doubt not of the day, and that once gotten, doubt not of large pay. Put the two and two together there, hold on.
More heroes for the cause.
Scene 8. London, a room in the palace. Flourish. Enter King Henry, Warwick, Clarence, Montague, Exeter, and Oxford. What counsel, lords? Edward from Belgia, with hasty Germans and blunt Hollanders, hath passed and safely through the narrow seas, and with his troops just marched the men to London, and many giddy people flock to him. Let's levy men and beat him back again. A little fire is quickly trodden out, which being Suffolk rivers cannot quench. In Warwickshire I have true-hearted friends, not mutinous in peace, yet bold in war. Those will I muster up, and now, son Clarence, shalt stir up in Suffolk, Norfolk, and in Kent the knights and gentlemen to come with thee, thou brother Montague, in Buckingham, Northampton, and in Leicestershire shalt find men well inclined to hear what thou commandest. And though brave Oxford wondrous will be leveled, in Oxfordshire shall muster up thy friends, my sovereign, with the loving citizens, like to his island girt, and with the ocean, or modest Dee encircled with her nymphs, shall rest in London till we come to him. Fair lords, take leave and stand not to reply. Farewell, my sovereign. Farewell, my Hector, and my Troy's true hope. In sign of truth I kiss your highness' hand. Well-minded Clarence, be thou fortunate. Comfort, my lord, and so I take my leave. And thus I seal my truth and bid adieu. Sweet Oxford, and my loving Montague, and all at once more happy farewell. Farewell, sweet lords, let's meet at Coventry. Here at the palace will I rest awhile. Cousin of Exeter, what thanks your lordship? Methinks the power that Edward hath in field should not be able to encounter mine. The doubt is that he will seduce the rest. That's not my fear. My meed hath got me fame. I have not stopped mine ears to their demands, nor posted off their suits with slow delays. My pity hath been balm to heal their wounds. My mildness hath allayed their swelling griefs, my mercy dried their water-flowing tears. I have not been desirous of their wealth, nor much oppressed them with great subsidies, nor forward of revenge. Though they much erred, then why should they love Edward more than me? No, Exeter, these graces challenge grace, and when the lion fawns upon the lamb will never cease to follow him. A Lancaster. Hark, hark, my lord, what shouts are these? Enter King Edward with Gloucester and soldiers. Seize on the shamefaced Henry, bear him hence, and once again proclaim us King of England. You are the fount that makes small brooks to flow. Now stops thy spring. My sea shall suck them dry, and swell so much the higher by their ebb. Hence with him to the tower let him not speak. And lords, Towards Coventry bend we our course, where peremptory Warwick now remains. The sun shines hot, and if we use delay, cold biting, winter Mars, our hot for hay. Away betimes, before his forces join, and take the great ground. Traitor unawares, brave warriors, march amain towards Coventry.
Falls to its death.
How now? Alright, Act 5. Henry VI, Part 3. Scene 1, Coventry. Enter upon the walls Warwick, the Mayor of Coventry, 2 messengers, and others. Where's the post that came from valiant Oxford? How far hence is thy lord, my honest fellow? By this at Dunsmore, marching hitherward. How far off is our brother Montague? Where is the post that came from Montague? By this at Dauntry with a puissant troop. Then to Sir John Somerville. Say, Somerville, what says my loving son? And by thy guess, how nigh is Clarence now? At Southam I did leave him with his horses, and do expect him here some 2 hours since. Then Clarence is at hand, I hear his drum. It is not his, my lord, here Southam lies. The drum your honor hears marcheth from Warwick. Who should that be? Belike unlooked for friends. They are at hand, and you shall quickly know. Enter King Edward, Gloucester, and forces. Go, trumpet, to the walls, and sound a parley. See how the surly Warwick mans the wall. No. Oi, unbid spite, is spotful Edward come? Where slept our scouts, or how are they seduced, that we could hear no news of his repair? Now, Warwick, wilt thou ope the city gates? Speak gentle words, and humbly bend thy knee. Call Edward King, and at his hands beg mercy, and he shall pardon thee these outrages. Nay, rather wilt thou draw thy forces hence. Confess who set thee up and plucked thee down. Call Warwick patron, and be penitent. And thou shalt still remain the Duke of York. I thought at last we should have said the king, or did he make the jest against his will? Is not a dukedom, sir, a goodly gift? Ay, by my faith, for a poor earl to give, I'll do thee service for so good a gift. 'Twas I that gave the kingdom to thy brother. Why then 'tis mine, if but by Warwick's gift? Thou art no Atlas for so great a weight. And weakling Warwick takes his gift again, and Henry is my king, Warwick his subject. But Warwick's king is Edward's prisoner, and gallant Warwick do but answer this. What is the body, when the head is off? Alas, that Warwick had no more forecast, but whilst he thought to steal the singles 10, the king was slyly fingered from the deck. You left poor Henry at the bishop's palace, and 10 to 1 you'll meet him in the tower. 'Tis even so, yet you are Warwick still. Come, Warwick, take the time, kneel down and kneel down. Nay, win. Strike now, or else the iron cools. I had rather chop this hand off at blow, and with the other fling it at thy face, than bear so low a sail to strike to thee. Say how thou canst have wind and tide thy friend. This hand fast wound about my coal black hair shall, whilst thy head is warm and new cut off. Write in the dust this sentence with thy blood. When changing, Warwick now can change no more. Oi! cheerful colors, see where Oxford comes. Oxford, Oxford, for Lancaster. The gates are open, let us enter too. So other foes may set upon our backs, stand we in good array, for thy no doubt will issue out again and bid us battle. If not, the city being but of small defence, we'll quickly rouse the treasures in the same. Oi. Welcome, Oxford, for we want thy help. Enter Montague with soldiers, drum, and colours. Montague, Montague for Lancaster. Thou and thy brother both shall buy this treason. Even with the dearest blood, your bodies bare. The harder match, the greater victory. My mind presages happy gain and conquest. Somerset, Somerset for Lancaster. Two of thy name, both dukes of Somerset, have sold their lives into the house of York, and thou shalt be the third if this sword hold. And lo! Where George's Clarence sweeps along, of force enough to bid his brother battle, with whom an upright zeal to right prevails more than the nature of a brother's love. Come, Clarence, come, thou wilt of Warwick call. Father of Warwick, know you what this means? Look here, I throw my infamy at thee. I will not ruinate my father's house, who gave his blood to lime the stones together, and set up Lancaster. Why, trowest thou, Warwick, that Clarence is so harsh, so blunt, unnatural, to bend the fatal instrument of war against his brother and his lawful king? Perhaps thou wilt object my holy oath. To keep that oath were more impiety than Jephthah, when he sacrifices his daughter. I am so sorry for my trespass made, that to deserve well at my brother's hands, I will proclaim myself thy mortal foe. With resolution, wheresoe'er I meet thee, as I will meet thee if thou stir abroad, to plague thee for thy foul misleading me. And so, proud-hearted Warwick, I defy thee, and to my brother turn my blushing cheeks. Pardon me, Edward, I will make amends. And, Richard, do not frown upon my faults, for I will henceforth be no more unconstant. Now welcome more and 10 times more, beloved, than if thou never hadst deserved our hate. Welcome, good Clarence, this is brother-like. Away, passing traitor, perjured, and unjust. What, Warwick, wilt thou leave thy town and fight? Or shall we beat the stones about thine ears? Alas, I am not cooped here for defence. I will away towards Barnet presently, and bid thee battle, Edward, if thou darest. Yes, Warwick, Edward dares, and leads the way. Lords, to the field, St. George and victory! Scene 2, a field of battle near Barnet. Alarms and excursions, enter King Edward, bringing in Warwick wounded. So lie thou there, die thou, and die our fear. For Warwick was a bug that feared us all. Now Montague, sit fast, I seek for thee, that Warwick's bones may keep thine company. Ay, who's nigh? Come to me, friend or foe. And tell me who is victor, York or Warwick. Why ask I that? My mangled body shows, my blood, my want of strength, my sick heart shows that I must yield my body to the earth. And by my fall, the conquest to my foe, thus yields the cedar to the axe's edge, whose arms have shelter to the princely eagle, under whose shade the ramping lion slept, whose top branch overpeered Jove's spreading tree, and kept low shrubs from winter's powerful wind. These eyes, that now are dimmed with death's black veil, have been as piercing as the midday sun. To search the secret treasons of the world, the wrinkles in my brows, now filled with blood, were likened oft to kingly sepulchres. For who lived king but I could dig his grave? And who durst smile when Warwick bent his brow? Lo, Now my glory smeared in dust and blood. My parks, my walks, my manners that I had, even now forsake me. And of all my lands is nothing left me but my body's length. Why, what is pomp, rule, reign but earth and dust? And live we how we can, yet die we must. Enter Oxford. Ah! Warwick, Warwick, wert thou as we are, we might recover all our loss again. The Queen from France hath brought a puissant power. Even now we heard the news. Ah, couldst thou fly? Why, then, I would not fly. Ah, Montague, if thou be there, sweet brother, take my hand, and with thy lips keep in my soul a while. Thou lovest me not. For, brother, if thou didst, thy tears would wash this cold congealed blood that glues my lips, and will not let me speak. Come quickly, Montague, or I am dead. Ah, Warwick, Montague hath breathed his last, and to the latest gasp cried out for Warwick, and said, Commend me to my valiant brother, and more he would have said, and more he spoke, which sounded like clamor in a vault that mought not be distinguished, but at last I might hear delivered with a groan. We farewell, Warwick. Mr. Twain, sweet rest his soul. Fly, lords, and save yourselves, for Warwick bids you all farewell to meet in heaven. Away, away, to meet the Queen's great power. Scene 3. Another part of the field. Thus far our fortune keep an upward course, and we are graced with wreaths of victory. But in the midst of this bright shining day I spy a black, suspicious, threatening cloud that will encounter with our glorious sun ere he attain his eastful western bed. I mean, my lords, those powers that the Queen hath raised in Gallia have arrived our coast, and as we here march on to fight with us. A little gale will soon disperse that cloud, and blow it to the source from whence it came. Thy very beams will dry those vapors up, for every cloud engenders not a storm. I ran, how now? What hap? The Queen is valued 30,000 strong, and Somerset with Oxford fled to her. If she had time to breathe, be well assured, her faction will be full as strong as ours. We are advertised by our loving friends that they do hold their course towards Tewkesbury, we having now the best of Barterfield. Will thither straight for willingness rids away, and as we march our strength will be augmented. In every county as we go along, strike up the drum, cry, courage, and away! Scene 4. Plains near Tewkesbury. Great lords, wise men there sit and wail their loss, but chiefly seek now to redress their harms. What though the most be now blown overboard, the cable broke, the holding anchor lost, and half our sailors swallowed in the flood, yet lives our pilot still. It's meet that he should leave the helm, and like a fearful lad with tearful eyes add water to the sea, and give more strength to that which hath too much, while in his moan the ship splits on the rock, with industry and courage might have saved. Ah, what a shame. Ah, what a fault were this. Say, Warwick, was our anchor, what of that? And Montague, our topmast, what of him? Our slaughtered friends, the tackles, what of these? Why, is not Oxford here another anchor? And Somerset another goodly mast? The friends of France are shrouds and tacklings, and no unskilful why not Ned and I for once allowed the skilful pilot's charge. We will not from the helm to sit and weep, but keep our course, though the rough winds say no. From shelves and rocks that threaten us with wrack, as good to chide the waves, so speak from fair. And what is Edward but a ruthless sea? What Clarence but a quicksand deceit? And Richard but a ragged fatal rock? And those the enemies of our poor bark say you can swim. Alas, 'tis but a while. Tread on the sand. Why, there you quickly sink. Bestride the rock, the tide will wash you off, or else you famish. That is a threefold death. This speak I, lords, to let you understand, in case some of you would fly from us, that there's no hopt for mercy with brothers more than with ruthless waves with sands and rocks. Why, courage then, what cannot be avoided, 'twere childish weakness to lame it or fear. Methinks a woman of this valiant spirit should, if empowered her to speak of his words, infuse his breast with magnanimity, and make him naked. Full a man at arms, I speak not this as doubting any here. For did I but suspect a fearful man, he should have leave to go away betimes, lest in our need he might infect another, and make him of like spirit to himself. If any such be here, as God forbid, let him depart before we need his help. Women and children of so high courage, and warriors faint, why 'twere perpetual shame, O brave young prince, thy famous grandfather doth live again in thee. Long mayst thou live to bear his image and renew his glories. And he that will not fight for such a hope, be home to bed, and like the owl by day, if he arise, be mocked and wondered at. Thanks, gentle Somerset, sweet Oxford, thanks. And take his thanks that yet hath nothing else. Prepare you, lords, for Edward is at hand, ready to fight, therefore be resolute. I thought no less. It is his policy to haste thus fast, to find us unprovided. But he's deceived. We are in readiness. This cheers my heart to see your forwardness. Here pitch our battle, hence we will not budge. Brave followers, yonder stands the thorny wood, which by the heavens' assistance and your strength must by the roots be hewn up yet ere night. I need not add more fuel to your fire, for well I wot yet blaze to burn them out. Give signal to the fight, and to it, lords. Lords, knights, and gentlemen, what I should say my tears gainsay for every word I speak. Ye say I drink the water of mine eyes, therefore no more but this. Henry your sovereign is prisoner to the foe. His state usurped, his realm a slaughterhouse, his subjects slain, his statues cancelled, and his treasure spent. And yonder is a wolf that makes this spoil. You fight in justice, then in God's name, lords, be valiant, and give signal to the fight. Scene 5, another part of the same. Now here a period of tumultuous broils. Away with Oxford to Hames Castle straight, for Somerset off with his guilty head. Go, bear them hence, I will not hear them speak. For my part, I'll not trouble thee with words, nor I, but stoop with patience to my fortune. So part we sadly in this troublous world, to meet with joy in sweet Jerusalem. His proclamation made that who finds Edward shall have a high reward, and his life. It is, and lo, where youthful Edward comes. Bring forth the gallant, let us spare him speak. What can so young a thorn begin so prick? Edward, what satisfaction canst thou make for bearing arms, for stirring up my subjects, and all the trouble thou hast turned me to? Speak like a subject, proud ambitious York. Suppose that I am now my father's mouth. Resign my chair, and where I stand kneel thou, whilst I propose the self-same words to thee, which traitor thou wouldst have me answer to. Ah, that thy father had been to resolved, that you might still have worn the petticoat, and there have stolen the breech from Lancaster. Let Aesop fable in a winter's night, his cursed riddle sort not with this place. By heaven, brat, I'll plague you for that word. Ah, thou wast born to be a plague to men. For God's sake, take away this captive scold. Nay, take away his scolding crook-bag rather. Peace, wolf of boar, I will charm your tongue. Untortured lad, thou art too mal-apert I know my duty. You are all undutiful, lascivious Edward. And though perjured, George, and though misshapen Dick, I tell ye all, I'm your better traitors as ye are. I know usurped my father's right and mine. Take that the likeness of this railer here. Sprawlest thou? Take that, to end thy agony. And there's for twitting me with perjury. Oui, kill me too. Marry and shall. Hold, Richard, hold, for we have done too much. Why should she live to fill the world with words? What does she swoon? Use means for her recovery. Clarence, excuse me to the king, my brother. I'll hence to London on a serious matter. Ere ye come there, be sure to hear some news. What? What? The tower, the tower! Oh, Ned, sweet Ned, speak to thy mother boy. Canst thou not speak? We traitors, murderers. They that stabbed Caesar shed no blood at all, did not offend, nor were not worthy blame. If this foul deed were by to equal it, he was a man, this in respect a child, and men ne'er spend their fury on a child. What's worse than murder, that I may name it? No, my heart will burst, and if I speak, and I will speak, that so my heart may burst, butchers and villains, bloody cannibals, how sweet a plant have you untimely cropped. You have no children, butchers. If you had, the thought of them would have stirred up remorse. But if you ever chance to have a child, look in his youth to have him so cut off as deathsman, you have rid this sweet young prince. Away with her! Go bear her hence perforce. Nay, never bear me hence, dispatch me here. Here sheath thy sword, I'll pardon thee my death. What wilt thou not? Then, Clarence, do it thou. By heaven, I will not do thee so much ease. Good Clarence, do, sweet Clarence, do, thou do it. Didst thou not hear me swear I would not do it? Ay, but thou usest to forswear thyself. 'Twas sin before, but now 'tis charity. What wilt thou not? Where is the devil's butcher? Hard favoured Richard. Richard, where art thou? Thou art not here. Murder is thy alms deed. Petitioners for blood thou ne'er put'st back. Away, I say, I charge ye, bear her hence to come to you and yours as to this prince. Where's Richard gone? To London all in post, and as I guess, to make a bloody supper in the Tower. He sudden of a thing comes to his head, how march we hence, discharge the common sort with pay and thanks, and let's away to London and see our gentle queen how well she fares. By this I hope she has a son for me. Scene 6, London, a room in the Tower. Good day, my lord. What, at your book so hard? Ay, my good lord, my lord, I should say, rather. 'Tis sin to flatter. Good was little better. Good Gloucester and good devil were alike, and both preposterous, therefore not good lord. Romans, hello, how now? Sarah, leave us to ourselves. We must confer. So flies the reckless shepherd from the wolf. So first the harmless sheep doth yield his fleece, and next his throat unto the butcher's knife. The sweet savour, what scene of death hath rushed us how to act? Suspicion always haunts the guilty mind. The thief doth fear such bush and officer. The bird that hath been limed in a bush, while trembling wings misdoubteth every bush, and I, the hapless male to one sweet bird, have now the fatal object in my eye, where my poor young was limed with caught and killed. Why, what a peevish fool was that of Crete, that taught his son in the office of the fowl. And yet, for all his wings, the fool was drowned. I, Daedalus, my poor boy Icarus, thy father Minos, that denied our course, the sun that seared the wings of my sweet boy, thy brother Edward, and thyself the sea, whose envious gulf did swallow up his life. Ah, kill me with thy weapon, not with words. My breast can better book thy dagger's point than can my ears that tragic history. But wherefore dost thou come? Is for my life? Thinkest thou I am an executioner? A persecutor, I am sure thou art. If murder and innocence be executing, why then thou art an executioner. Thy son I killed for his presumption. Hadst thou been killed when first thou didst presume, thou hadst not lived to kill a son of mine. And thus I prophesy, that many a thousand which now mistrust no parcel my fear, and many an old man's sigh, and many a widow's, and many an orphan's water standing, aye, men for their sons, wives for their husbands, and orphans for their parents, timeless death shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born. The owl shrieked at thy birth an evil sign, the night crow cried, aboding luckless time, dogs howled, and hideous tempests shook down trees. The raven rooked her on the chimney top, and chattering pies and dismal discord sung. Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope, to wit an indigest deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a goodly tree. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world. And if the rest be true which I have heard, thou camest. I'll hear no more. Die, prophet, in thy speech, for this amongst the rest was I ordained. Shh, shoo. Aye. And for much more slaughter after this, oi, God, forgive my sins and pardon thee. What, will the aspiring blood of Lancaster sink in the ground? I thought it would have mounted. See how my sword weeps for the poor king's death? Oi, may such purple tears be always shed from those that wish the downfall of our house. If any spark of life be yet remaining, down to hell, and say I sent thee thither. I that have neither pity, love, nor fear. Indeed, 'tis true that Henry told me off. For I have often heard my mother say, I came into the world with my legs forward. Had I not reason, thank ye, to make haste, and seek their ruin, and usurped our right? The men might have wondered, and the woman cried, Oi, Jesus bless us, he is born with teeth. And so I was. Which plainly signified that I should snarl and bite and play the dog. Then, since the heavens have shapped my body so, let hell make crooked my mind to answer it. I have no brother. I am like no brother. And this word love, which gray birds call divine, be resident in men like one another, and not in me. I am myself alone. Clarence, beware. Thou keepest me from the light, but I will sort a pity day for thee, for I will buzz abroad such prophecies that Edward shall be fearful of his life, and then to purge his fear I'll buy thy death. King Henry and the prince his son are gone. Clarence, thy turn is next, and then the rest, counting myself but bad till I be best. I'll throw thy body in another room, and triumph, Henry, in the day of doom. Scene 7. Once more we sit in England's royal throne, repurchased with the blood of enemies, with valiant foemen like a autumn's corn have we mowed down in all tops of all their pride. 3 dukes of Somerset, threefold renowned for hardy and undoubted champions. 2 Cliffords has the father and the son, and 2 Northumberlands, 2 braver men, ne'er spurred the coursers at the trumpet's sound. With them the 2 braves bear, Warwick and Montague, that in their chains fettered the kingly line, and made the forest tremble when they roared. Thus have we swept suspicion from our seat, and made our footstool of security. Come hither, Bess, and let me kiss my boy. Young Ned, for thee, thine uncles, and myself have in our armors watched the winter's night. Went all afoot in summer's scalding heat, that thou mightest repossess the crown in peace, and of our labors thou shalt reap the gain. I'll blast his harvest if your head were laid, for it I am not looked on in the world. This shoulder was ordained, so sit, so heave, and heave it shall some weight, or break my back Work thou the way, and thou shalt execute. Clarence and Gloucester, love my lovely queen, and kiss your princely nephew, brothers both. The duty that I owe unto your majesty I seal upon the lips of this sweet babe. Thanks, noble Clarence, worthy brother, thanks. And that I love the tree from whence thou sprangest, witness the loving kiss I give the fruit. To say the truth, so Judas kissed his master, and cried all hail, when as he meant all harm. Now am I seated as my soul delights, having my country's peace and brother's love? What will your grace have done with Margaret? Rainier, her father, to the king of France, hath pawned the Sicils in Jerusalem, and hither have they sent it for her ransom. Away with her, and waft her hence to France. And now what rest but we that spend the time with stately triumphs, mirthful comic shows, such as befit the pleasure of the court? Sound drums and trumpets, farewell, sour a noise, for here I hope begins our lasting joy.
I welcome all allies.
How now? Very well. It's always a pleasure. King Henry, I think that's the end of the run for you. Next up is King Richard, the tragedy of King Richard. I've already done the first King Richard. I'll have to go back and check that one out. Okay, so I'm definitely getting rid of you.
Your reckoning has come.
I'm just riding along. I always love listening to it though. The words, they're so well written. Some tongue twisters in there. Dude, they could kill a man, I'm telling you. It almost took me out on one of them. Good deck though, seems well. We're here, William. It's always fun. Through the years here. I'm not even halfway through the book yet. So there's many more to do and other books to do. I don't want to do it all at once, so try to spread it out and we'll just hang out, you know?